We have with us Tax Genie, a GST software professionals with us. Mr. Rakesh Dubeji is the founder director of that software. They have ASP and GSP for GST. And now they are launching GST annual return and GST audit module. As I said, that of course they are launching, but what's the benefit to us if we learn their software or use, or me even, we spend 15 minutes of us learning now. So Rakesh Dubeji has told us that they are willing to give this software for the first year to all the members present over here in this conference as a free for the first year. So that might help us. We can take the benefit of that. Very much thank you for that, sir. I would now request Piramal Shah to just highlight about the softwares and then hand over to Rakesh ji.
Welcome back all after lunch. It's really difficult time, both the sides after the lunch, but we'll try to create this very interesting for all of you. Basically, Tax Genie is a ASP application service provider. We are operational since last 2 years. We started our journey in January 2017. And now almost after 13, 14 months of launch of GST, we first launched our GSTR 1, then 3B, and even GST reconciliation in July 2017. And before GST audit starts, we are launching now GSTR 9, and also we are launching 9C, which is related to you. So over to my colleague Rakesh Dubey. He is going to run through what we have done in 9 and 9C.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yeah. So, morning say it was really great session. We went through Mr. Madhukar, CA Madhukar session on all the things what is required, the preparation and everything. Later we had a session on Mr. Avinash talking about more from ITC point of view. I think we have full of session going through outward, then also from the 9 perspective, clause by clause. I think tomorrow we have the session. Yeah. So this is more from the software point of view, because if you look at from audit point of view, every CA average around 100 audit they need to do it. And if you look at, like what all the things what is required in GSTN or GST audit is quite high. One side, government is expecting you to provide a transactional audit. Yeah, so that's very important to understand what is a transactional audit. So I always tell my colleagues, CA and everyone, if you look at from government point of view, and this is very important, you need to understand. They are playing a card where they have all the information and you are playing with the blind card. So they know exactly what every party filed and what happened. So they have all that information in their system. And you don't have access to all that information. You have the whatever customer is giving to you and plus some report which is coming out, like from the system. So from the audit point of view, I don't think is a fair. Reason is the amount of transaction what went through both in books of account and GSTN is very difficult to go through all in a very small window what we will get, maybe 30 to 45 days, that's audit. So keeping that in mind, we thought from the audit point of view, law, you understand the law and you're going through all the training and everything to understand the law. Let machine crunch out all the data what is required from the audit point of view, So we are launching, we are still developing, as you know, 9 is more or less finalized, but still government had not given all the APIs and everything. 9C, they given a framework, but still there is a lot of things we are expecting to come out. They had given some idea about checklist, what are the things they are expecting. So keeping all that in mind, we develop our GST and audit model. We'll try to do the live with the simulated data. and we'll go through, more Q&A point of view, because still in a development, that means we'll take a lot of your feedback and improve the whole software. So this is, we are ASP, GSP, so we actually provide end-to-end solution from GSTR 1 filing, GSTR 3B, the reconciliation, everything we provide. So today my focus will be only audit point of view. So if I'll go in audit, obviously the first thing is your organization, which is based on your PAN number. So from the PAN, because GST audit is per GSTN, but then you have to, in 9C, you have to connect back all that thing to your financial audit. Yeah. So that's on your PAN number. So what we are providing here is basically for each of your the client, what are the, PAN number wise the detail, and then you can go more in basically each GSTN. Now they have the two form. One is GSTR 9, which is for the regular, and GSTR 9A, that's for composite. Yeah. So we'll go to, regular, and we'll go through more detail about that. So let's look at that one. Again, it might happen that you are working with the corporate which have number of GSTN, and they may have the on-ground or different auditor for each GSTN. May happen. It's just like VAT. It was, the state department, state branch, they were deciding. So this might happen. So we provide all the data, who is the auditor for that one, that company. And then we also develop the whole checklist. Again, detail of checklist government already provided, and this is, let's go back to or refer to our first session. So one is your transactional data, but also you need to go through the standard operating procedure of customer, because government expect is your customer is following all the law, from the SOP point of view, not only the data. What is the SOP? For example, if we talk about GST registration, yeah, so there is the GSTN certificate is displayed into all additional place of business and the branch office and the headquarter, are they following or not? Because that also is basically one of the expectation what government is asking you. Now, if you look at, if you have around 24, 25 GSTN, and they have average around 5 to 10 additional place of business, we are talking about auditing around 250, places. Obviously, you'll not roam around the, country and start taking the picture. What you'll ask your customer to provide the evidence. So here, if you look at each question, this is, as an auditor, you can configure it. So you don't have to. So for example, if you think this is not relevant question from the audit point of view, you can go to auditor, we'll show that also, auditor setting, where you can actually disable this question. You can also say this audit check is mandatory or not. Evidence is required. If evidence is required, then you can attach the evidence. What this tool is providing is basically you can send to your customer, because I think Mr. C.A. Madhukar was very clear that you're not going to do everything from the transactional point of view. You'll make sure that you inform your customer and let the customer provide you all the evidence which is required from the audit point of view. So this framework provide you all that things so that customer can go and customer can collect all the information and provide you evidence, and then you can say, yes, I checked it and this is working. Now if you'll go little bit more detail, invoicing documentation, and also there will be status. So for example, whoever is involved from the audit point of view, and if it's completed, then actually they will click it completed or in process or still not started. So as an auditor, because you may have around 10 people team and 2 or 3 people team is working on number of customer as a group. So you can see a dashboard where actually you know exactly how much checklist is completed, what are the pending status are there. If customer is not responding, then at least you can send a mail. You know, again, I'm referring to Mr. Madhukar, flash report. So that at least they know that, something is pending from their side. Please make sure that you don't assume that, like end of the day, they will provide all the information. This is the first time GST audit is happening. I expect, customer may or may not be knowing all the things what is required. So again, there is a education is required, what exactly the process and all the things are involved from your side. And then you can use this tool to go through with the customer that these are the information we required from your side, so that they can plan it. They can plan from, like quite early, rather than you can go to last minute and, you can ask it. Look at the sort of question. Again, all this is a configurable, so you can configure if you want your customer to answer or you don't want that answer. For example, whether bill of supply is issued by the exempted supply non-GST supplies or not. So if yes, then give the evidence so that you're following the law. Yeah. For example, whether refund voucher issued for the refund for the advance received or not. So these are the standard template. But now you're asking your customer to start filling and provide the information whatever is required here. Again, as I said, from the auditor point of view, you have very small window and you have to sign all that document, and government is going to ask you, hopefully you checked everything. Yeah. If not check, at least you know, or you have the evidence that we forwarded to them, and these are the 6 points customer had not replied, and you can keep that as a note to your audit note. That's quite important. So like that, we have created, 17 section. Each section have the, like a different question answer. Now you can add your own section here. Yeah, you can add the question, you can add the topic, you can add if that is a mandatory. You can also go by industry wise. So you can create a template for the manufacturing. You can create template for the BFSI, because job work may not be there in BFSI. BFSI may have the different on pure agent concept. Yeah. So you can use these tools to actually create your checklist and work with the customer to complete that one. So that's the first model. Second model is GSTR 9. Again, from the GSTR 9 point of view, few things we get directly from the customer, from the government. So whatever they file, especially in a turnover, then that turnover will come directly from the government. Yeah, and few things we have to ask customer to send all the information. So I'll go through first what exactly we'll get from the government directly. So from the tool, as a ASP, we have access to the information, just like, what all the ASP have, GSTR 9 data. So if you look at the turnover point of view, you have the B2C supply. So most of the turnover stuff will come directly from the GSTR 1. But it's not one-to-one mapping. What you submit in GSTR 1 will map directly to the GSTR 9. So you also need to understand how the calculation happened. Because customer have the GSTR 1 data, government had given GSTR 9 data, and the 1 and 9, how that correlate. Take example, if you talk about the B2C. So B2C supply, if you look at from the filing point of view, actually the way we file the GSTR 1, we have the B2C large in the one bucket, then we have B2C S small in one bucket, then you have the credit note, debit note, and all the aspect, and that's a different bucket of GSTR 1. But GSTR 9, actually they will consolidate everything into the one bucket. Yeah. So is the calculation, is the, how they calculated versus what we have GSTR 1, you have to correlate. What we are providing as a tool, basically correlating GSTR 1 and 9 both. So you can drill down further and you can go to, detail of that one. So I'll go to GSTR 1 turnover again. So similar to B2B, so B2C, if you look at from that point of view, is the aggregation of B2CS, B2CL, credit note, debit note, and definition is there. So each area, what we are also developing is the help file, how exactly the rule is happening. So from that point of view, actually context-based help will be there. So each section, when you are there, you can correlate what is the loss, and also we are going ahead, what are the common error can happen when you are doing the audit. Yeah, because that's very, very important. When we are going in more detail, then that will help. Then if you look at from B2B side, again what they did, in the B2B of GSTR1, SEZ, the B2B, all these are together. But here they actually divided that one. So B2B registered is there, but SEZ will be later. So like that, there is all the section of GSTR 9, what we get directly from government will not have one-to-one relationship with the GSTR 1. So you need to understand how exactly that will, that will reconnect. And again, what we are bringing here is the basically auto connection. So at least you know exactly where the data are there. The bigger challenge will be in the ITC. Because I think there is a number of, discussion happen from ITC point of view. You get your B2B, GSTR 3B directly from the portal, but now they are asking, and this was, again, from the software side, I don't see that as a surprise, but in a filing side, there is a surprise that they are asking, input capital goods and input service as a separate. When we created a reconciliation model, which number of corporate and organization they are using, we always insisted that after reconciliation, after matching, you need to actually give the whole categorization of, is it input or input services, capital good or ineligible. And that was from the start, because actually, if you look at from the GSTR2, which is not rolled out, actually this came from the GSTR2, because GSTR2 did ask that one. And we kept the same blueprint of GSTR2 when we created the reconciliation. So from our point of view, that's not surprise. That means basically now, we are creating tools. If customer had not used our reconciliation model, you can take their data, match data, and you can assign the different category, and then you can put that one in here, because all these calculation ITC, actually that you have to do it, or your customer need to do, and that's a big task. Because not only that, for example, I think last session we discussed about capital goods, how you are going to treat the capital goods, So all that, loss side you need to take care before actually uploading directly to the system. That's quite important. Now, here they also mention about ITC reclaim other than B above under the provision of Act. Again, provision of Act, you know the definition. If you had taken as a provision of Act and 180 days happen, then what treatment you are doing? We are providing a tool, so that means basically you as a CA need to go through that, which is the basically reversal is required, which is not required, and if provision of Act is there, then you need to click into tool that, this is a provision of Act, then the calculation will happen. Because when we go to 9C, whatever number is missing from GSTR 3B 1 2A, actually you can see all that calculation is happening in auto calculated mode. So the gap of GSTR 2, 3B, 1, the system will automatically calculate. So what we are saying, you need some sort of simulation tool where you can see actually what is the gap and going in detail on that gap and also working with the customer from the law point of view, before you file GSTR 9. Because once you file the GSTR 9, the door is closed. Yeah. So our tool provide all that information and also going little bit more detail how all this is connected. So once the GSTR 9, again GSTR 9, you can also go and get the how much tax I paid. Here you have the supplier, so all the supplies and tax declaration through amendment. All the amendment, whatever happened, you have to put it here. Yeah, and then that will basically provide you the final ITC turnover, how much tax is required, and that will connect to the 9C. Yeah. Again, we have this small time window, so I'll not go through all the detail, but we have the stall downstairs. If you need, we can go through more detail, and also we can, connect one-to-one with all of you to go through, my sales team will come and go through all detail here. So once the GSTR 9, so key message from GSTR 9 is the tool will provide auto-populate number of data which we get from the government, which is mostly turnover. Tool will also help you, your customer, especially customer, to complete ITC if they are using our tool, or we'll have the separate tool to segregate your ITC, which is basically in input services and capital goods. Once you complete the GSTR 9, then actually your adjustment will start. So tool will also provide, because you may be using Tally, Busy, SAP, so many other stuff you might be using. So as an auditor, you need to go through system audit also. And then this tool will capture output of system audit. With the Tally, we are developing the tool which is, directly take your trial balance and all the stuff and connect this one. We may launch SAP also, but slowly we'll keep adding. Wherever our tool is not there, then manually you have to do the system audit, and actually you put the value in a system audit here. Immediately tool will give you what is the difference, what actually government have the data and what you have the data, and what's the difference. So that way at least you can highlight what are the things we need to do. Yeah, that's quite important. So each section by section, we will get that information in a tool. That's then we are also giving the whole analytics. As you know, end of the day, the way assessment happen is on a ratio. Yeah. So what will happen is basically it will provide you the the ratio where the system itself will calculate the ratio between the two different. For example, how much ITC you claim versus your turnover. And then you can also compare with the organization wise and GSTN wise. That way at least you know if how far, for example, my overall, tax average rate of GST, input and output, how much is that? So you can at least highlight that, So the whole idea of this tool is basically provide all the data technically is possible, so you can focus is where is the gap. And then you can work from them rather than using the all Excel exercise and trying to create. And also, it's very difficult for your, the team to follow the same step for all the customer. So that's what we provide. On a 9C, what we are doing is basically now bringing all the data of 9 and then providing you the information. For example, 9C will take from your audit financial report. Now if you upload data from audit financial report, it will give you what is the difference and where how much unreconciliation happened. And once you have all that information, then you start going back to 9, going back to the system. So at least you have the simulator and audit already done, or the data is there. Now you can focus on your core aspect, where exactly you think you need to go detail. Again, from the tax genie point of view, we want to help you to automate as much as possible wherever the data is there. But you know law better than anyone else. Yeah? So we are not here to talk about law. We are here to talk about the tools which is required for you to actually take this into next stage. That's what what we expected. So quick demo to go through. Again, I know normally when I go through this sort of thing, it takes around 3 to 5 hours, and we got around 20 minutes, so I had to rush back. But hopefully that helps you to understand capability of tools.
Thank you, Rakesh. Basically, Tax Genie is working on various initiatives. We already have reconciliation tool, which a lot of our customers are using and been benefited out of this. So we have stall outside over here. You may visit the stall and see the reconciliation tool also. Apart from this, as chapter, he has announced the scheme. Okay, so first year for chartered accountant, this framework, audit framework, we are going to provide free, and it just comes with a small token registration fees. And next year we have not thought about the price and all. We are working with Vasai chapter, and we'll let you know about that. But you can take the benefit of this, and thank you very much.